everybody, it's Romania Black. It's cold out. It's cold out. There's a snowstorm outside. I was like, I need to snuggle up with my Cowboy Bebop blanket. And I just got done watching an episode of Attack on Titan. And you know what? I decided I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. I'm going to follow up an episode of Attack on Titan with Sasaki and Miyano because they're totally different vibes and I need it. So, the last episode of Sasaki and Miyano, it was so cute. Very, very interesting, this development of Sasaki realizing that he may like Miyano. And Miyano, here's the thing, Miyano seems oblivious to the fact that Sasaki likes him. But he goes on and on about these BL manga that he reads. And it's like, do you not see that Sasaki is maybe acting like a character in your BL series? Maybe, I don't know. I think that's gonna be really cute that Miyano reads all these series, but the one right in front of him that's acting like it, he's unaware of. But it's really cute. I like it a lot so far. And I think very much like when I watched Free with Banana Fish, I'd follow up an episode of Banana Fish with Free, and it was like the perfect balance of like insanity and comfort. I feel like this is going to be, to get me through season 4 of Attack on Titan, I feel like Sasaki and Miyano is going to be my ticket. So I'm pretty happy about that. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. So yeah, we're on episode 2. I don't know what to expect because this is a slice of life series. And so everything just kind of happens in episodic formation. So I'm not really sure what to expect. It's all very episodic and it all just happens. There's not really a plot thread so far because we're only in episode 2 that's like stringing things together. So I'm curious to know, we haven't met the blue-haired guy that's in the ED. So I'm curious if we're going to meet him, if we're going to meet if he's the basketball guy that's kind of the roommate for our blonde boy, Hirano. So I don't know. I'm very curious. So let's dive in, shall we? And we'll find out. But I'm excited to get into this series and to experience the fluff. I'm ready for it. So we're going to start Sasaki and Miyano episode 2 here in 3, 2, 1. And let's see what all happens with our boys. Okay. This series is so intriguing. Sasaki and Miyano. So it's really crazy because I feel like they're subverting some things, and the more we get Sasaki's character, I'm like, okay, so we established that Uke is the bottom character, and that's Hirano, what he is. The more we get into this, I don't think that Miyano is Uke. I don't think he is. I think Sasaki is. The more we get into it, I'm like, I think that Miyano is the top character, kind of like Mio from Seaside Stranger. And Sasaki, even though he's the taller, older one, because usually in like a BL series, your taller, older character is the dominant alpha character, right? And then the smaller, more demure, younger character is the Uke. But I don't think so. I think this is trying to subvert that and making Sasaki the one that likes the cute things, that's the more emotional one. Because yeah, the more we get into this series, Miyano, even though he acts very like timid and like, I don't want to spread the BL, it's because he's concerned about, he doesn't want to get bullied at school, so he tries to hide it, right? But he likes bitter things, and we'll talk about the whole men's pocky sticks and things like that, and kind of like the subversion of gender expectations here. But I just, Sasaki says things are cute, and he's very emotional too. He's just not outward with it. I don't know. It's interesting, but yeah. So we don't have the name of the guy whose eyes are always closed, but we get the passage of time in this. The first episode dealt with the summer of Miyano's first year in school. And this episode goes through fall into February. So covering like a 4-month span of Sasaki and Miyano just getting closer and closer as friends. And Sasaki following him to the bookstore to buy a BL. And Miyano he's embarrassed about it. He's nervous. And like I said in the OP, I was like, I say that's silly, but then when I think about it, I don't think I've ever bought a BL series at an actual bookstore. I've always ordered them online because it's just more convenient that way. But actually going to the bookstore and then purchasing the thing and bringing it up to the cashier and buying it is a whole different experience. So it'd be like if you went to the store and bought 50 Shades of Grey and you just stuck it on there and was like, here I go. And Sasaki's so cute when he like looks around the bookshelf. He's like, hey. But Sasaki clearly likes Miyano. And Sasaki is afraid Sasaki is under the impression, I feel, that Miyano does not like him back in that way. That Sasaki is just taking every opportunity he can to get close to Miyano because he doesn't think it's something that has any future to it, right? And he's trying to not burst the bubble. He wants to keep the bubble up. He wants to keep Miyano in the bubble with him, and it'll all be fine. They can share manga and have a great old time. But this OP, I'm going to have to go back to it. I don't think we had an OP in the last episode because I was like, when did this happen? Because there was lots of things pointed out that I was like, I don't remember that. And I didn't even think about it last time. I was so obsessed with the show itself that I didn't even think about there being an OP. So it's going to be something that I feel like I'm going to go back and forth with and catch little things as we go. Maybe there was an OP now that I'm looking at it. Maybe there was one. Maybe I'm crazy. It's been about a week since I watched episode 1, so maybe that's it. But I feel like little things have been added to this OP. It's odd. And I think we got a shot of the blue-haired boy, but we're going to go back to Hirano's boyfriend. But yeah, so Sasaki's just trying not to burst the bubble. He wants to keep this relationship with Miyano like he can because he doesn't think that Miyano feels the same way about him. And Miyano's pretty clueless. Miyano's like, wait, what? He doesn't think it's even possible that Sasaki likes him that way. He's like, this is an all-boys school. We're just good friends. And I think that everyone else around them is starting to notice, be like, no, y'all are more than good friends. Right? And here's the thing. Given uses a stoplight in a lot of its imagery. Like there's always like a stoplight turning green and giving the go signal when a character is about to do something. This series uses a stoplight too. So I don't know if that's something we've talked in the Discord and everything about triangles being something that's in a lot of BL series. And it's definitely in this one. So I'm curious if the whole stoplight thing, it's curious that it's brought up in this just like in Given. So then there's also that cat. That cat keeps popping up in different scenes. That cat that's a ginger, kind of like Sasaki. And I don't know if that's like a hint that Sasaki is an uke, because you think of Neko, like in Twittering Birds, they always call Yashiro a Neko character, like he's a bottom. And so they use that term, it's a nekama. And so I wonder if that cat being around during the scenes with Sasaki and Miyano is kind of hinting that Sasaki is not a top character. I don't know. But we have Kurosawa. And we find out that Kurosawa was the guy that Sasaki rescued back in the summer when Miyano couldn't do anything. So he thinks pretty highly of Sasaki. He's like, no, Sasaki's a good guy. He rescued me. He has to be good. Like, don't make fun of him. But then we get that Miyano's worried about Sasaki getting made fun of. He's like, what if Sasaki's getting made fun of in his class because he's following me around and getting my manga and things like that? What if people are saying things about him? Miyano's very concerned about public appearance and how people think of him in terms of him being a Fudanshi and reading these BL series. And Sasaki doesn't seem to care. Sasaki's like, I don't care what people think. I'm just going to read this series and it's fine. Nobody's going to bother me. But Miyano takes it very seriously. He's like, how can you want to read them without even being a Fudanshi? How can you do that? And Sasaki's like, I don't see the problem. I just like the story. He's like, I just don't get the appeal without the moe. And he's like, because I'm like this, that's why I like them. And Sasaki's like, if there's someone I like, I want to know them. And so he says that, and he says it very just casually, and everybody in the class is like, what? And Miyano's like, get out of here. But yeah, Sasaki likes you. And Miyano's just, he doesn't think it's possible. There's no way this tall, handsome guy could like me like that. And it's like, no, really, he does. So yeah, it's very curious. But we cut to the whole thing with the audio drama and the song. The audio drama and the song is so great. I love that scene so much. Because, yeah, you think he's just... When he was sitting there listening to the music, I thought for a second that it was the headphones that was the headset, like you couldn't detach it. But no, they're just giant earbuds. And, yeah, he just grabs one, and you think it's going to be this romantic moment where they, like, share earbuds and listen to the same song. But then you realize it's an audio drama. And he's just, I love that. Of course, I would freak out if I was listening to audio drama and somebody's like, oh, hey, let me listen to that. I'd be like, no! Because it is very intimate and personal, right? An audio drama, especially if it's a BL series, it's very personal. And Miyano's like, it's not what you think. I'm not just walking around listening to this. But I am, you know. And Sasaki doesn't judge Miyano. That's the thing. He doesn't judge him at all. He's just like, he thinks it's cute. He's like, oh, you're getting so flustered. It's cute. He's like, I'm not judging you at all. He doesn't even know what drama CDs are. And then Miyano just like, I can't take it. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. forget this ever happened. Feign amnesia. I love it. And so Sasaki seriously wants to know. Now Sasaki's going to get all the drama CDs, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, CDs that contain stories told through audio. Mm-hmm. So this scene is interesting, though, for the turn that it takes. And it's interesting. He's like, yes, it's BL. Please get immediate amnesia. I'll help. But in this moment, the guys walk by. And he says that Mia-chan is so cute. Because, yeah, Miyano's just having a freak out moment. Like, oh my God, this is embarrassing. And then as he's having this freak out moment, these two guys walk by. And they're like, oh, hey, Miyano, what you doing? Having an otaku fit? Like, you're just freaking out, fangirling? And Miyano's like, leave me alone. And Sasaki, when he hears them walk away, they say, you know how Miyano's face is feminine? And he's like, when he blushes, could you mistake him for a girl? And he's like, what? No way. He's a dude. Yeah, I wouldn't either. And so I think that's curious because Sasaki has been calling Miyano cute this whole time. In the very beginning, Sasaki was telling himself that Miyano's a boy, not a girl. So I wonder if Sasaki, in that moment, if Sasaki is trying to realize within himself, if he's like, okay, do I think Miyano is cute because he looks feminine and because I'm confusing him with a girl and I think that's cute? Or am I actually into guys and he's a guy and I like him even though he's a guy? Is that a thing? So it seems like Sasaki's trying to reason that out with himself. Like, do I like Miyano because he seems feminine, or do I like him because he's a guy? And just because he's Miyano. And him holding the book up against his face, almost like he's hiding him from the rest of the world. Like Sasaki getting jealous this episode that other people are taking note of him. It's like, oh no, honey. It's like Miyano doesn't even know that you really like him and you're getting jealous already. Mm-hmm. Yep. He's like, what are you doing? And so then we have, Kurosawa comes up and then we have the Pocky scene. I couldn't believe that we're doing the pokey, the Pockies. And the whole thing. And he doesn't even put it in his mouth because he chickens out. Sasaki's the one that chickens out. Miyano's the brave one in this situation. He's like, okay, sure. I guess if this is what these normies do, I guess I'll do a game. Which I'm surprised he doesn't realize the Pocky game from a BL series, but maybe not. But he bought the Pocky for him because he said they weren't sweet. But he lied because then later Miyano's like, they are sweet. Uh-huh. And so they're not sweet, but they are. Mm-hmm. And so he tries it. He's like, well, you bought them for this purpose and you bought them for me, so I'll play. Fine. Okay. He feels obligated. And then he bites into it and Sasaki it's too much for him. He's like, oh no. He can't do any more. And so this was November 11th when this happened. And he bit off the stick. And he's like, I can't bite anymore. Your hand's in the way. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. So he gives him the Pocky sticks to keep. And Kurosawa makes the comment when he comes in. He's like, why are you keeping those? It's like, oh, well, because Sasaki gave them to me. They're a gift. I don't want to throw them away. And Kurosawa's like, I gave you chocolates and you threw them away. So why are you keeping his? And he's like, oh. But he says that it's because his were too sweet. But he grabs the Pocky sticks, which note, they say men's on them. So I don't know if there's any connection to that, him buying the men's Pocky sticks, if that's a thing. But he gives them, and Miyano comments that they were sweet. They weren't bitter. But he still keeps them, despite that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then we cut to the bathroom, where Sasaki is like trying to figure things out over the edge of the sink. And yeah, this conversation he has with himself in the mirror, where he's recounting him with this Pocky stick. And saying, does he have no guard up? Is it gone? So recalling that as they've gotten closer and gotten to know each other, he's not brushing Sasaki off or acting like it's a big deal when he gets like physical with him. He usually gets mad, he notes, but lately it's not been the case. So, and then of course Sasaki's like, well, damn it. I don't know anymore. He's like, does he like me or not? He's cute. He's like, but I don't want to burst this bubble. He's like, what if he doesn't? He's like, it's gotten pretty bad. And so he feels like the next time I hug him, I'll be liable to squeeze extra hard. So he's like, if I'm not careful, I'm going to overstep my boundaries and I'll make Mia upset. Mia-chan will get upset with me. He doesn't want to burst the bubble and be proven wrong that Mia doesn't have those same feelings. So he resigns himself that he's not going to touch him anymore. And it's like, okay, you keep telling yourself that. Sure. But yeah, Sasaki, I feel for him. I do. Because he just wants to keep this up. And we had the tie with the pool on both of their ends. Mm-hmm. And Kurosawa and Hirano definitely notice that there's something up. They definitely both get it, right? And so we cut to... I want to cut here to them talking about Hirano. And so Sasaki says, do you get hit on a lot? And he's like, do people hit on you? And Miyano's like, why would you bring that up? Is relationship gossip the new trend among high school boys? Miyano's like, why are we talking about this? I'm just trying to fill out my journal. And then he says, you should abandon this notion that there are potential partners behind every corner. They're not that plentiful. He's like, just don't think you're going to run into true love every step you take. And so then he asks about Hirano. And so Hirano senpai is an uke, right? And so we get that, and he's like, I got it. Carry on. And then he's with the younger student who's his roommate. Okay, and we get him playing basketball. He is not the blue-haired guy. He is a guy with brown hair, and I think he pops up at the end of the ED. So the basketball player that is his roommate is the guy that he's seeing. Okay, he's not the blue-haired guy. Gotcha. He's like, bold move. Bold move getting with your roommate. I'm glad that's working out for you. And then he says, put that aside. This is a boys' school, and there's a co-ed school nearby, and we can work. So it's not unreasonable. So most of the guys at this all-male school have girlfriends at the co-ed school next door. So he's like, it's not unreasonable for guys off campus to have a girlfriend. But Miyano does not. And so Sasaki asks him if he chose the all-boys school because of his love of BL. And there is a little mystery here because Miyano says, no, I didn't choose this place because of the BL series. Like, I chose it for other reasons, but I don't want to talk about it right now. It's like, So I'm curious, I'm assuming we'll get to find out why he chose it. But Sasaki notices that the more he talks about it, the more he gets flustered and he increases the pencil and he's like, eh. And I love that Sasaki has his hand up on the desk and he's like, hey, then how'd you start reading BL? And Miyano's like, it was an accident. I was studying. I got hooked. He's like, it was all downhill from there. Yep. People are fallible and prone to error. Mm-hmm. I love that. And Sasaki hangs on every word that he says. It's so adorable. He's like, I had a reference book. Mm-hmm. I went to get a reference book for exams and manga for study breaks. And I noticed a cover that was really pretty. And here's the thing. In that moment, Sasaki's like, I could reach out and touch him. Like, in that moment, we're so close. And he doesn't want to touch him because he doesn't want those feelings to not be reciprocated. But he reaches in, and I love that he just has the hand, and he almost touches him. He almost does it. He, gets so close to his fingers, and then he just backs away. Ugh. Gets so close, and he stops himself. He's like, you're taking it too far. And you can tell it's killing Sasaki, because Sasaki likes him. And he wants to tell him, but he can't. And it's like, ugh, he doesn't want those feelings to not be reciprocated. And it's like... He doesn't want the bubble to burst. And we literally get the whole thing with the shapes and stuff bursting as he thinks that. It's like, oh, God. And then I got really sad when he's like, oh, well, it was hard to figure out just by the cover. It was on the normal shelf. Because I always think of BL as a genre. Boys love as a genre. But I don't think of it as not normal. It is. It's just it's like you have comedy... And you have, I guess you could say boys love, you're like, why isn't it just romance? I guess you can make that argument that why is boys love its own separate genre and why isn't it just romance? I get that argument. I can see that. But I definitely consider whether or not you want to put romance and BL together in the same genre or not, it's still normal. And the fact that Miyano doesn't call it normal, I feel like Miyano's character, Sasaki is like, he is 2 steps away from coming out of the closet. Sasaki is like, I would confess to you, Miyano, if I knew it was going to be reciprocated. I would be all for it. Like, Sasaki seems to have no reservations other than the fact that he doesn't want to be rejected. Miyano considers the whole BL thing as an obsession, but he doesn't seem to label it as something that he's totally comfortable with. So I could see if Sasaki did confess to him, Miyano having like an identity crisis of being like, oh, am I comfortable with this? I know I read these Bell series, but I say it's just a fluke. And I say it's like an error. Am I really okay with it? So that's interesting, right? Because normally you'd think it'd be reversed. You think it would be Sasaki having the coming to terms crisis and Miyano being all about it because he's the guy that reads BL all the time. But it's the opposite. It's very interesting. And then, yeah, Sasaki says, I bet he went out later and found several similar titles to buy, like what he's been doing, reading the manga that Miyano's gave him. And he talks about how cute it is. He just thinks that Miyano's adorable. And Miyano's like, are you listening? He's like, oh, yeah, sorry, I zoned out. And then, so time has passed. It's February. And I like how protective Hirano is. Hirano's like, leave him alone. And Sasaki's like, I just, I'm trying to, be with my buddy here. And Hirano seems suspicious. And so does Kurosawa. They all get suspicious about the time that they're spending together. But Hirano says in the moment, he's like, I guess it's a good thing. I mean, there's no harm in it, right? They're both friends. And they're both each other's company. So as long as they're not hurting each other, it's fine. But I feel like if Hirano thinks there is potentially something that could hurt mixed in there, he's going to try to put a stop to it. So yeah, then they go to the Valentine's store. And Sasaki wants to buy all the chocolates because Sasaki likes sweet things. And I like this scene because Sasaki's like, oh, look, let's get some chocolates together. And Miyano's like, promising material, Valentine's at a boys' school. And then there's a little Valentine's Day box. And Sasaki's like, this would be great material in a BL manga. You're thinking the same thing, right? And they are. It's so cute. That little expression that Sasaki gives where he's like, I know what you're thinking. We finished each other's sandwiches. It's great. I love that. Was I right? And there's the little heart that says love, like symbolizing that you are. Oh my gosh. And then, yeah, then Miyano's like, well, how did you know? And he's like, I wonder. Let's buy these and exchange them. And Miyano's like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to exchange chocolates. He's like, why not? And he doesn't get an answer. But Sasaki buys the chocolates anyway, right? And so then we go to the after. I nearly forgot. Wushin on Patreon was like, oh yeah, there's an after credit scene after episode 2. I nearly forgot it. And I was like, what? I almost forgot about the after credit scene. I was like, man, this episode got over really quickly. But then we cut back to that stoplight. And the stoplight turning red. Again, that symbolism there. And Sasaki saying, by the way, how many people gave you chocolate, Mia-chan? He said 36. He's like, what? We made it a class event. One of our classmates loves events. And on his suggestion, everyone brought chocolates. And he's like, oh. But for some reason, a lot of the chocolate, people bought money-shaped chocolates. So he goes on and on, doesn't think anything about it. And then the teacher got suspicious, blah, blah, blah. And Sasaki, he's jealous. Because he had this idea to exchange chocolates and they didn't get to do it. And instead, everybody else exchanged them with Miyano except him. He got excluded from it. And it wasn't... And that shot of the butterflies just stagnant there. It's so creepy. But it's just him mad because he's like, we were going to have this special thing between us. And then they made a class event out of it. And I didn't get to participate. Like, I didn't get to give him chocolates even though I wanted to. And so, yeah, and he goes straight upstairs. And his sister comes out. So he has a sister. And he's like, oh, welcome home. And he's like, if you have time, could you wash your hands and help with the gyoza? And then he just goes straight to his room. And the mom and sister are like, rude, what was that about? They're like, interesting. They go back to doing what they're doing. We don't see the dad in this. And then it's snowing. And it's February 14th, Valentine's Day. And he didn't get to share the chocolates with Miyano. And him being so sad. Aww. It's sad to see him really upset about it like this. I'm like, aww. And then, yeah, holding up that little bag of chocolates above him. Thing saying 36 people. And it's like a part of him is wondering if Miyano had any feelings for those other 36 people. And it's like, I should have thought about events. That's on me. Mm-hmm. Oh, 36. Oh, and it's just like zooming in, and the butterfly's stagnant. Who the hell went first? So yeah, in that moment, he's like, someone else gave chocolates to Miyano before me. And who was it? Because he wanted to be the first person to give him chocolates for Valentine's Day. Mm-hmm. Interesting, interesting. So yeah, Sasaki's a little bit jealous, and there's also the impression there that Sasaki didn't get chocolates himself. So you think that Sasaki's this handsome guy that probably has a lot of people like attentive to him, but then I don't know. He's around Miyano all the time, and nobody really seems to. Everybody notices Sasaki's there, but they don't like get up in his face. But everybody notices Miyano, so it might be one of those things where Sasaki's like, well, everybody notices Miyano, but is he going to notice one of those 36 people and not me? And so yeah, there's jealousy there. But yeah, oh my gosh, this episode was really good. This episode was very good. I feel for Sasaki, I do. I'm like, Miyano, when you gonna get it, boy? Because everybody else around you's figuring it out, except you. I'm not ready for the bubble to burst because I don't know. Miyano's so nervous about that sort of thing. I'm like, does he like guys? Is that a thing? Is he gonna be like okay with? What's he gonna think about Sasaki liking him? So yeah. But I have a feeling this is gonna be my after Attack on Titan tradition now for the rest of the season. Is just to watch Sasaki to Miyano and bundle up and enjoy it because this episode was really good. And I like that there's fluff and cuteness, but then there's also like some mystery and a story developing here. Like I like it a lot. So we shall see, right? I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. Please no spoilers, but I'm curious to know what y'all thought of the episode. Thank you so much for watching the reaction, and I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care. But yeah, I'll be back next week with episode 3 of Sasaki to Miyano. Bye.